Hello everyone and welcome back to episode 271 of your favourite Formula 1 show. Yes, Knowing Wheel is back. We're here to review the Qatar Grand Prix. But of course, Jamie183, talk me through the emotions right now. It's going to Abu Dhabi.
It is, and I'm very excited for Abu Dhabi. I still don't think Verstappen's going to win it. I'm going to get that one out there straight away. I think 12 points is slightly too much. We'll get into it, but I think a 10-point gap would have been great for Max Verstappen in terms of having the count-back advantage as well. I think 12 might be a bridge too far based on car pace this race and what I expect the car paces to be next race as well. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff happened before that point in the weekend, so we'll get to that first. But yes, every time I think it's over, something happens to give Max Verstappen another sniff. And then it's back on. But this time, I'm not saying it's back on because it's still Norris's to lose, realistically.
Sensibly so, I think is the case, isn't it? I mean, I've kind of mocked on you more recently about your whirlwind of emotions throughout the course of the season, haven't I? But we did also say pre-show, every time you said it's over, Max has then suddenly had a good race. And every time you've been actually quite confident about Max,
it's not gone very well.
I think the last time was Brazil, wasn't it?
Yes.
And he actually then did lose a few points in the championship.
For the only time since Zandvoort that he's lost points to the championship leader.
Yeah, mad. Absolutely mad. I mean, obviously, Friday night sprint qualifying, last sprint weekend of the year, of course, so not much time to get practice in. Like we mentioned, obviously, in the preview show, we were limited to 25 lap runs, and that includes all laps done on the tyres. So out laps in practice, in laps, practice laps, qualifying laps, everything like that.
It doesn't count laps to the grid, interestingly.
It doesn't count laps to the grid, though, interestingly, because I guess that's not a competitive session lap.
And I guess they're all going really slowly, so it takes little out of tyres, doesn't it? So
yeah, but they do that in the out laps and in laps in practice and qualifying as well, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, let's just go straight into sprint qualifying though, Jamie, because practice, of course, you get no juniors in for a sprint weekend because, of course, you've only got one practice, and generally speaking, everybody takes it quite easy. You just focus on long runs, don't you? Yeah. I mean, it's kind of become tradition towards the end of the year. Ferrari were terrible. It honestly, by far and away, looked like the worst car to drive all weekend.
It wasn't
necessarily the slowest, but it looked like the worst.
It wasn't the slowest, other than in Lewis Hamilton's hands, when it only edged out the Alpines.
I think it was genuinely right down there, though. Like, unironically. With whatever they'd done to it. I think it was unironically one of the worst cars.
Leclerc still got Q3 in both qualifying.
Yeah, but so did Gasly.
Gasly got it in one. Gasly got it in one. The Alpines were definitely worse in sprint quali because they locked out the back row. But
yeah, but that's because you got Gasly and Colapinto against Leclerc and Hamilton.
Yes, I was amused when I saw Lewis Hamilton out in 18th place for the third race in a row. He was out in Brazil, wasn't he? Or not?
No, that was Max.
That was Max out in Brazil, but he's been out in Q1 in Vegas and sprint quali now, and real quali, spoiler.
Yes, yeah.
Not the best for the man you predicted to finish on the podium.
Yeah, I needed a bit of a miracle after that. I mean, we'll talk about the predictions later on in the show, won't we? I mean, sprint qualifying wasn't too eventful, was it? Obviously, Lawson, Stroll, Hamilton, Gasly, Colapinto out in Q1. I guess the only really big shock there, or not really, as the case may be, apparently, was Hamilton out. Q2, there was obviously a little bit of drama because Hadjar actually improved right at the end, but then his lap time was deleted, and that meant that Antonelli, who'd been bumped out, was then bumped back in as such, which obviously, adds obviously a little bit of spice to it. It was Hadjar, Behrman, Bortoletto, Hulk, Ocon out in Q2. Again, no real surprises there. By the time we got to the end of SQ3, though, shout out to Oscar Piastri, Jamie. I hyped him up going into this weekend of saying Qatar is an Oscar Piastri track. Fastest in practice, fastest in SQ1, fastest in SQ2, got the job done, fastest in SQ3, claimed pole position. George Russell, brilliant effort to split the McLarens as well, as Alonso ahead of Tsunoda, who out-qualified Verstappen. That was quite funny. Antonelli, Sainz, Leclerc, and Alex Albon. And of course, that takes us... Yeah?
I'll say as a Verstappen fan, given how much he was struggling with the setup and the bouncing on the car, I was quite happy with the results of SQ because obviously Yuki Tsunoda is not going to put up a fight to Max Verstappen. He's also
not.
one place, like one position in terms of car rows behind Lando Norris. So I was like, well, if Tsunoda does get a good start, you can just fully send it because Norris is going to bail out as quickly as he can. Lando Norris should have really been on the front row, but he messed up his final run getting behind Alex Albon, which Will Joseph was scolding him for on the radio, which obviously all of Norris Twitter was going a bit mental about.
Will Joseph can't be mean to my boy.
Exactly. Lando Norris can't. He's a baby. He can't have someone talk down to him. But it wasn't even talking down. It's like, what are you doing? You just let Albon pass, and now you've messed up your final run because
even though after he explicitly told him, don't let anyone pass.
Exactly. So you know what? P6 when Norris is third, and Alonso and Tsunoda are like Verstappen's green shells, effectively, because Alonso loves Max as well for some reason.
Yep.
So I wasn't too disappointed with sixth. It could have easily been eighth.
Alonso loves Max because they have a shared dislike for Lewis Hamilton.
Possibly, but it works in Verstappen's favour, so I don't mind.
No, exactly. I mean, obviously, moving on though into Sprint Saturday, all 4 of your Q1 exiteers, apart from Liam Lawson, decided they'd start from the pit lane, which was just quite odd seeing a 16-car grid, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just all those cars racing down the pit lane was quite funny.
It's like the final. Was it Mugello, the final restart there, where there were 10 cars going?
Yes, yeah, just a demolition derby.
Looks like a league race come July.
Yeah, come towards the end. It says how long you've been since you played F1.
F1 used to release
in May now. But yeah, I mean, let's be fair. We've learned very quickly, didn't we? I mean, I said this to my dad, and after the race, he was like, "Yeah, you're absolutely bang on." Obviously, Hungary is Monaco without the barriers. Qatar is just high-speed Monaco. Isn't
without the daylight.
Yeah, without the daylight. It's just... No one could do anything, could they?
No.
Because it's such a high-speed, high-downforce track that you just simply can't stay
close
to people.
What they should do, and there is genuinely scope for this, because it's obviously a desert, and they're an oil state, so they've got tons of money to do what they want. They should just turn 1, 2 into Bahrain International Circuit, turn 1, 2, and 3.
Yes. Yeah.
And that would solve a lot of problems. Because if you had a braking zone where you could send it,
yeah,
I think that would be fine. And Qatar already looks a bit like Bahrain with the edges smoothed off. So you might as well just go the whole hog and turn that little bit of track into Bahrain.
Turn that into a hard... Because the thing is as well, you've got enough room down there. Yeah, you'd have to move a couple of stands back. But you can leave the MotoGP layer as is.
Yeah.
And just run a longer, tighter hairpin.
Exactly.
Towards turn 1.
And then you've got a slightly longer DRS zone with more slipstream effect. And you've got the opportunity to send it. And what's not good about that?
Exactly. Qatar, fix it.
Exactly.
I mean, Oscar, would hold the lead into turn 1, wouldn't he? George would be able to defend from Lando. Max would get past Alonso through turn 1, and then Yuki Tsunoda, to his credit, put up a huge defence, basically being an entire car length ahead into turn 4. But still, Max was able to get so much later on the brakes. It was a daring overtake, wasn't it? It definitely wasn't.
And as I said before, Alonso and Tsunoda are like the hype boys for Max Verstappen, so it was never going to be much of a challenge to get past those two.
I mean, there's a brilliant onboard, because Yuki actually got a very good start originally.
He did.
And it looked like he could have tried to get somewhere close to Lando into turn 1. But it was almost like he remembered he was meant to be letting Max by.
Yeah, it was suddenly like, well, I can't get ahead of Lando into turn 1, so let's completely back off.
Max by.
Yeah.
So, I mean, after that, I mean, the only other thing really that happened was Leclerc had an absolute stinker, as Ferrari did all weekend.
They did.
He would lose 4 places early on, and then basically the only other bits that would happen was Leclerc would shove Lawson off for fun a bit later on in the race, just because he felt like it. I might just crash into him, make myself feel better. Lap 13, then Alonso would run wide out of the final corner, so Kimi Antonelli would get him. And nothing else happened. Oscar would win ahead of Russell, Norris, Verstappen, Tsunoda. Tsunoda and Antonelli both got penalties, quite interestingly.
Yeah.
For track limits
in a
turn
third
10.
Distance race.
In a 1/3 distance race. But it would make no difference to either of them, because Alonso was like 8 seconds behind come the checkered flag. And Sainz there, up in P8 as well. Sprint race, pretty dead.
Yes, it was. But it was especially dead for Ferrari.
It was.
As they didn't score points in a sprint race. Do you know since when was the last time they didn't score points in a sprint race?
Kota last year, I don't know.
No, it was the first time since Monza 21.
I did hear this stat,
When there were only points for the top three back in the day. So that's quiz is going to be not about the Monza Sprint that year, but about the Monza GP. Can you name the top 10 point scorers? And if you get one wrong, it's over. No time limit.
2021, wasn't it? So obviously this was Ricciardo 1.
He did.
Ahead of Norris.
Yes.
Obviously Verstappen and Verstappen took Hamilton out.
Hamilton didn't leave any space and they crashed into each other, yeah.
Well, Max doesn't leave any space, yet they avoid accidents, don't they? It's called
Do they?
giving up occasionally. So I know neither of them scored. I can't remember who finished. Was it? I don't know if it was Bottas on the podium or not, or whether he just scored.
It's quite. I would say it's quite gettable. All of these.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Bottas then.
Correct. He was third.
Yeah. I'm gonna assume Perez scored.
Mm-hmm. He was fifth.
Yeah, I'm going to assume Leclerc scored.
Yes. P4.
Sainz, I'm going to assume scored.
Yes, P6. 4 more to go.
Yeah. I'd say I've promised I've named all 4 of the big teams that year, haven't I?
Yeah.
I feel like this was the year Gasly got... I can't remember if it was the sprint or the race of Gasly got taken out on lap 1 or took himself out. Because obviously he won the race the year before.
He did.
So I'm going to... I feel like that was the sprint, but I'm going to discount him for now, just in case. Because then he would have had to start from the back of the field anyway. Because obviously that was when the sprint defined the grid, didn't it? I'm going to say... Who was it? Oh, was Vettel at Aston Martin that year? But I don't know if they would have scored necessarily. I'm going to say Vettel.
And it's over.
Yeah, figure so.
Vettel was P12.
Okay.
But his teammate, Lance Stroll,
yeah.
P7. What a guy.
Oh, fair play. Yeah.
So Stroll was 7th. Alonso was 8th for Alpine.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Russell was 9th for because he obviously took 3 years getting his first points. And then his second points turned up like a week later.
Yeah.
And then
like
Ocon was 10th for Alpine as well. So
okay.
You could, and Latifi 11th. What a driver.
Yeah, I know.
We need to bring him back for the next race, just for no particular reason. Just get him in for Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, I can see Red Bull bringing him in as their second driver.
Do
you want to know? Do you want to know, ladies and gentlemen? This is a bit of an insight. Jamie183 last night, he lost his marbles so much that he said Red Bull should hire George Russell on a 1-race deal to take Lando Norris out.
I couldn't
believe what I was reading.
I didn't say to take him out. Obviously, never would happen. I was having a play in a group chat.
You were losing your marbles, and it was.
I was getting a bit overexcited, but
you were.
If Red Bull had a competent second driver who could finish second, if the Red Bull's quick, it would make me a lot more hopeful. Because
fair enough.
Obviously, Max has got a win with Lando off the podium. So who's going to be on the podium? You've got to have Piastri in there, but then who else? Carlos Sainz again? Why not? Bring him back. Bring him in.
Bring him back after 10 years. Let's get into qualifying though, Jamie, because again, Tsunoda was out in Q1 alongside Ocon. Hamilton now just in his resident P18. Lord, what has happened? Stroll and Colapinto all out in Q1. Q2, Hulk, Lawson, Behrman, Bortolado, Albon. That's obviously no real shockers there. But Q3, we did get a little bit of spice, didn't we? Carlos Sainz would bring out a red flag, which was kind of hilarious because Williams have been told. Basically what happened was Sainz came out of his box and the sticker that Williams used on the garage floor got stuck to his rear wheels.
Yes.
Now, on the one hand, you're kind of there going, well, that's not really Sainz's fault, is it? On the other hand, Williams have been told before, you run that risk by doing this. It's not mandatory. It's something that Williams want to do.
So it's their sticker.
So they've been... It's their sticker. No other team has this, and I think for good reason.
Yeah, especially in a place like Qatar, in the middle of a desert. But I'm surprised.
Why in a place like Qatar specifically?
Because it's hot.
What's that got to do with the price of fish?
Well, the sticker is probably more likely to pull away from the ground if it's hotter. Is that bad physics?
I guess in theory, but it's more of an adhesive than anything else.
But I'm surprised this hasn't happened before, given it's around 23. And they've done this everywhere else. Like, why is this the first time it's happened? That's odd. Unless it's just dusty on the ground and the adhesive didn't stick properly. Who knows?
Yeah.
Theories.
That's going to be our theory for this episode.
Exactly.
But yeah, obviously, he'd leave basically this sticker. It made me chuckle. All the commentary team said, it's way off the racing line. I was like, no, he's not. He's pretty much bang on the racing line out of turn 2. Don't know what lines the drivers are taking, but you should want the shortest run between 2 and 3.
Maybe the commentators
FIA
drive with the racing line on.
Yeah, the FIA would be a little bit cheeky with it, wouldn't they? Because they'd basically allow everybody to do their first runs and then red flag the session. So
I quite like that, to be honest.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. It basically means that everybody's got an equal and fair chance as well. And obviously, it did mean that the pressure was on for the final run. And after, obviously, Oscar Piastri, fastest in all 3 sprint sessions and the sprint, fastest Q1, fastest Q2. He was actually behind Lando Norris going into the final runs of Q3 until, once again, Lando Norris messed it up. And once again, Piastri would take pole.
Yeah, and we've given a lot of credit to Norris recently, or certainly I have on this podcast. Both quali sessions were a bit of a mess on the final runs because, again, he just through turn 2.
But I think it was because he knew Oscar was quicker.
Maybe.
He was just kind of trying to do too much.
He was possibly overdriving, and by the end of Sector 1, he'd basically given up on his final run because he'd made a mistake. And that, or like obviously, he messed up his outlap in sprint quali. So, and he was in a good position. He had the provisional pole. It's almost overdriving. Yeah. Maybe the championship pressure is getting to him a little bit. And obviously, if he'd have got pole position, it was highly likely he was going to win the championship the next day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, big shame for Norris. But Piastri did the job for the first time in 3 months since Zandvoort.
Yeah, first pole since Zandvoort, which is kind of mad to think about, isn't it? But yeah, Norris, though, this time around would join him on the front row, so I don't think McLaren could call it an unsuccessful qualifying session.
No.
Verstappen would take P3 just ahead of George Russell.
I was so glad he got ahead of Russell.
Antonelli in 5th, Hadjar, Sainz, Alonso, Gasly, and Leclerc.
How on earth is Gasly there, by the way?
Gasly's had 10 Q3 appearances this year, and that's mad in my mind.
Yeah, and Colapinto has made it out of Q1 like 2 or 3 times, I want to say. Not many at all.
No.
So fair play to Gasly. His stock has probably risen this year, like up against some pretty woeful teammates.
I just don't think anybody remembers he's there most of the time, it feels like. Poor Pierre. But don't worry, he's locked in. He's going to be 2026 world champion. Heard it here first.
Alpine Mercedes, let's go.
Exactly. Incredible. But of course, yeah, the big talk going into the Grand Prix, wasn't it, Jamie, was the maximum 25 lap allowance on tyres. And, well, sensibly, I think every team had kind of figured out, if you got a safety car on, I don't know, lap 7, for example, of a 57 lap Grand Prix, with how difficult it is to overtake here, surely you just make sure you pit both your cars. But the odds of that happening are next to nil.
You know, if cars can't get near each other, so how would they crash into each other?
It's not going to happen, is it, of course? So,
to be honest, any safety car between lap 7 and lap 25, you'd probably pit.
Yeah, exactly.
Really.
Yeah, you got plenty of scope there to try and work this out. Once again, though, Oscar Piastri, pole position, led into turn 1 under no real pressure. Max would, though, get around the outside of Lando. Again, Lando seemed like he was trying to play it safe a little bit. I think he knew they had good pace in the car, so obviously didn't. He didn't need to be all... The thing is, obviously, for Lando, and I guess it's kind of the thing now for Max next weekend, is what's much... And this is why I'm quite intrigued to see how Max plays this in Abu Dhabi, is what's much better about a 3-way championship decider. Max can't get the red mist as much like he did with Hamilton, unless he can somehow do a Bottas Hungary 2021 and pinball them. Because he knows if he takes one out and takes himself out in the process,
it's true, yeah,
the other one's going to win.
But then he can't take anyone out because he has to outscore Norris. It's not like 2021 where if they both crash, he wins. Because Max has to finish, P4 if Norris DNFs. And even if Max is P4, Piastri could then finish second or first and win the championship. So it's much more complex than usual. What you need is a really tight field. So I think he's going to deploy some 2016 tactics. And if he's in the lead, just back everyone up and hope some chaos ensues. Yeah.
I mean, McLaren, on the other hand, then have got a little bit of an option, haven't they? I mean, it surely will have to be... I mean, we'll talk about the rest of the race in a second. But it's surely got to be discussed in McLaren this week of... If it's looking like Max is going to win it, do you then have to sacrifice Oscar?
No, they will never do that.
Yeah, but will they agree in this scenario that it's better that... Will they agree with each other that it's better one of them wins than Max?
I don't think they care. They've already won the constructors.
Yeah, but they'll want to win the drivers as well.
But I think Norris or Piastri...
Both drivers, I would imagine, will have to understand it's better that one of them wins over Verstappen.
It's better for the marketing team, yeah, but how much of a stock loss is that for the driver themselves? If, like,
it's not.
say...
If you clearly see it in a scenario that they've deliberately given up to make sure that their teammate wins.
I don't see it.
And it puts them arguably in much better stead for next year.
So hypothetically, I mean, we're getting well ahead of ourselves talking about the end of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix already. But Max is
we always knew
winning.
this was going to be most of the podcast.
Max is winning. George Russell is second, for instance.
I was going to say Oscar second, George third, Lando fourth.
So you think Oscar would have to give up 2 positions?
Well, this is the question, isn't it? What do you do that late on in the night? Or do you just get Oscar to drive into Max?
I mean, they definitely wouldn't do that. I think if Verstappen's winning, Russell second, Piastri third, Norris fourth, obviously that means Verstappen's winning the championship, unless they swap the McLarens over.
Yeah.
I don't think Piastri accepts a team order, I'll be honest.
I think in that scenario, Oscar Piastri's got to go for the move on Verstappen.
What, behind Russell?
If he takes the win... No, sorry, I'm still thinking of Oscar's second in that scenario. If he's third, you swap him.
I think they try. I don't think he does it. His manager's Mark Webber.
I think in that scenario, Oscar Piastri will be willing to understand the greater good of the team.
No.
Because if you don't do it now, you are never, ever getting a shot again in
Well,
McLaren.
You're never getting team orders in your favour again, are you?
Exactly. And you'll gain nothing from it.
I would love
my point.
A dramatic situation. I'd be so sad if it's just the McLarens and Verstappen a minute ahead of everyone. That would be annoying. But yeah, we shall see. But let's talk about Qatar, because that's the race we're reviewing.
We probably should talk about the race that's happened.
Exactly. So as we said, if there's a safety car hypothetically on lap 7 and you can pit and go to the end with one more stop, of course you're going to take it.
Everybody has to 2-stop.
Exactly. So you're not even sacrificing track position because you know everyone's got the same number of stops to do again. So on lap 7, 2 of my boys, Pierre Gasly and Nico Hülkenberg. Hulk's doing an insane move, by the way. He already overtook Leclerc earlier on, somehow.
He's on soft tyres against everybody else on
in
mediums,
a Sauber.
it must be mentioned.
Still.
The Sauber's great at Qatar. It is
Lewis
every year
Hamilton.
for some bizarre reason.
Lewis Hamilton was also on soft tyres and making no grounds at all after lap 1.
Hang on a minute, he made 4 places up. He did more than Hulk.
On
so
lap
pipe
1?
Down. Pipe down still. He made more places.
Hulk made 1 overtake, legitly, with dirty air and everything, and it was on lap 4 or 5 on Leclerc. And that was basically all of overtakes.
Fair, Leclerc basically spent half the race just trying to avoid gravel traps.
And then he was making a banging move on Pierre Gasly, and then Gasly the boat kicked in, and he understeered.
He did a Roy Keane.
Exactly. Well, I don't think he meant to.
He got on way too much throttle when you listen to the onboard.
He did. It was a misjudgment from Gasly. I don't think it was intentional.
It's the problem, isn't it, of, especially around a track like Qatar with these long flowing corners, of, I'm first, therefore it's my line. Is you basically end up in a scenario like that where you're... Yeah, but he was still, because it was wheel-to-wheel contact, wasn't it?
No. Well, it was left front to rear right.
But he's basically tried to get back on the throttle to be the car in front on the exit and just taken them both out.
But when you're going over 100 miles an hour, it doesn't really work. If you're at a really low speed, 30 mile an hour corner, I mean, there's not many of them. If you're at a 50 mile an hour corner,
hairpin.
then like you can rub the wheels a little bit. But when you're going 120 on the exit of turn 1 at Qatar, any contact is going to be...
just can't take you.
Yeah, exactly. So it was Gasly's fault. I was annoyed because Hülkenberg obviously would have scored points that race. But it led to a very dramatic turn in the championship. So, you know what? I will accept the sacrifice for the greater good. And
Hülkenberg just wants McLaren not to win.
Well, I'll take it.
Ever since that podium at Silverstone.
When they didn't celebrate him.
Exactly. He took them both out in Kota Sprint.
Oh,
he
brilliant.
now messed them up
took them
here.
both out in Kota Sprint.
He didn't. Hulk was far too optimistic.
He had Alonso up his inside. He had nowhere to go.
I thought it was Hulk up Alonso's inside.
No, Alonso dived it on Hulk already. Yeah, Hulk was 4th on the grid. Enough. What a guy.
Yeah, madness. Absolute madness. But of course, like we said, lap 7, safety car gets called immediately because Hulk's just abandoned in the gravel on the exit of turn 1. So you think everybody's going to pit. Oscar Piastri comes out the final corner. Doesn't pit. Lando Norris comes out of the final corner. Doesn't pit. Max Verstappen and everybody else comes out the final corner. Pits.
Well, Verstappen's ahead of
Norris. What are McLaren doing?
But it was... admittedly, it is a very difficult situation for McLaren.
It's not. It's so obvious.
It's obvious in hindsight, isn't it? But
it was obvious at the time.
It was obvious in the time.
That moment.
We all put in the group chat, everyone should pit. And realistically, For overall race time, the best thing to do was pit. Arguably, though, from McLaren's point of view, if you pit, and as does everyone else, which is the obvious thing to do, you are basically accepting a 1-3 for the two drivers. Because, maybe even worse, because Norris might have had to double stack and ended up behind the likes of...
They were already quite spread out by that point.
They were.
Should have been safe.
But regardless, you're
the problem
committing...
is, of course, there is they always give Oscar a worse stop.
You are committing to the same strategy as everyone else, and you're already behind Verstappen with Norris. So it's almost like try something different. But equally, given how tightly the control of the strategy is in Qatar, you can't actually go that much different, because the tyre 25 lap limit means you've got a 2-stop. So, and yeah, if you pit on lap 7, you're going to have to pit on lap 32. They knew that. It also would have meant that McLaren's had to double stop again on lap 32, because they couldn't have gone one lap separate because of the rules. Yeah.
Every other team managed it, though.
They did. I can see why they tried something different. Obviously, it didn't work. I think the correct thing to do, certainly for Piastri, was to pit. I think as a driver behind, you almost say, well, try something different because you're third anyway. But Piastri 100% should have pit. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it's that whole thing of McLaren. Oh, we can't screw over one driver to benefit the other, so we'll just screw them both over instead, yet again.
Exactly. And you've got to feel for Piastri, because that was a race win. And had the result been Piastri Verstappen Norris, as it probably would have been, realistically, if they'd have pit, then your championship is between the McLarens. There's 12 points between Piastri and Norris then.
Yeah.
Rather than being 12 points between Norris and Verstappen.
Yeah.
So Piastri is effectively out of it for all intents and purposes. Obviously, he's still got a shot.
Unless the other two take each other out.
Exactly, but he's much more in it if they'd have not messed up the strategy.
To be fair, for Piastri, he would have been 9 points behind Norris, and that would have meant then, obviously, he could try and win with Verstappen second.
I don't think so. I saw a stat.
He would have gained 7 points, wouldn't he?
But Norris would have been third rather than fourth.
Yeah, I guess, actually, yeah, of course.
So it would have been 12, so it would have been the same either way. But regardless, he's now got to basically rely on
would have been
luck.
11, wouldn't it?
That said, I will say Piastri hasn't lost the championship here. He's lost it in the last 3 months when he's been woeful. So while I feel for him at this race, it has not been a good final third of the season generally. So you can't pin it all on this race.
No, he's had plenty of... I mean, it's things like just survive the Brazil sprint now, isn't it?
Survive Baku.
It seems so obvious in hindsight.
The Baku quali and race crashes were probably not the best idea.
No, as well, yeah. It's just all... Don't let Lando buy in
Don't give Norris
Monza.
points in Monza.
Yeah. So many things, isn't it? I mean, yeah, obviously, so every single other car pit. We got the return of the Ocon 5-second penalty meme, which was quite funny as well. And then after that, it made me chuckle because you and a couple of the other guys in our group chat were like, "Oh my, Verstappen isn't keeping up with Norris or Piastri." And I said immediately, I was like, "He'll just sit 5 seconds back. Why does he need to sit on their gearbox in clean air?" And that was exactly what happened. And to be honest, apart from then Alonso apparently wanting to help the McLarens by
Alonso always
causing
does
an almighty
this.
train.
Any track you can't overtake at, Alonso just trains everyone for fun. Exactly. It's almost like he's trying to make them lose their concentration, because driving slower, weirdly enough.
And he was one of the only ones that did, because he would have a spin later on in the day. Which
no, apparently that's because the car setup was done by demons.
Oh yeah, apparently he's got a ghost in the car or something.
Exactly.
He's fully lost his marbles now.
He really has.
Which is quite impressive. But yeah, I mean, the McLarens obviously would pull away off the restart, but not for very long, because of course they'd have to pit. Max would obviously inherit the lead. Luckily for the McLarens, they would come out ahead of Alonso in his huge train, so it was looking... Yeah, it was looking like worst case scenario was then going to be 4th and 5th. But Oscar would make a good move on Andrea Kimi Antonelli. Later on in the day, Lando started to make a few little errors, didn't he? Probably cost him a chance.
He should have beaten Sainz, realistically.
Should have beaten Sainz.
Like,
sensibly.
Norris, in that second stint, towards the end of his second stint, he was driving woefully. And he was back to like 9 seconds behind Piastri. He had Verstappen on older tyres, effectively quicker, right behind him. And Carlos Sainz and Kimi Antonelli were also as quick as him, and he couldn't gap them, whereas Piastri was down the road, gapping Antonelli and Sainz easily.
Still.
exactly. And Norris, I think he made a mistake on one lap and then maybe just knocked his confidence or something, because I think the car was fine.
I think he basically just went into, I just need to get as many points as I sensibly can, rather than risking it.
But he easily could.
Because I'd much rather finish. I'd much rather finish 5th than spin out and be psychologically buried.
But then what kind of attitude is that when you're winning the championship with the race to go? He had to beat with Williams.
You're the only one that goes into Abu Dhabi still definitely with a chance.
He had to beat Carlos Sainz. I'm sorry, he did.
He really should. No, I'm absolutely with you. He should have done, but I can understand the psychology behind.
Possibly.
I just want to make sure that
it's not really a winner's mentality, though, is it?
No, but when has Lando Norris ever had winner's mentality?
True.
It's pretty in character, isn't it? I mean, let's be fair, Jamie. Apart from then, Piastri made a good move on Antonelli down at turn 1. That's champion's mentality. I'll make it happen despite the advantage. Antonelli then would make a mistake right at the very end, which a lot of people were saying was on purpose. It wasn't. Just an error. It wasn't just on purpose. On dead tyres, trying to defend from a much quicker car.
It was a weird place to make a mistake, though, because
it was not that weird, though. Bizarrely, because it's a horrible little corner exit.
It is, but you've seen the McLaren has
Alonso
no
made the same mistake. Well, he actually made a worse mistake, but
he did. But the McLaren has absolutely no straight line speed. Norris was in DRS for about 10 laps and could not overtake Antonelli. Couldn't even get close to Antonelli.
Yep.
So you don't. I mean, obviously, I'm sitting at home watching it on the laptop, but you don't need to push that hard to keep Norris behind you. And it was almost like he was trying to get the DRS gap gone or something.
I think he wanted to get into Sainz's DRS to then know it was done.
Possibly, but there were 2 laps to go, and Norris hasn't had a chance yet. So I don't know. Yeah. It was a shame, but he's a teenager, so I can forgive him.
Exactly.
Yeah, it wasn't
deliberate. Then get a puncture.
Get your tinfoil
on lap 56, but
yeah, again, I feel for Isaac
happened.
Hadjar. I went to the season not liking him very much, and he's really made an impression.
He has been a great guy,
but the fact he lost P6 for no reason of his own was quite unfortunate for him. So, but he knows he's going to Red Bull, so who cares?
Yeah, apparently that's going to get announced this week.
Tomorrow, supposedly, Tuesday.
Yeah, so we'll wait and see about that, and I'm sure we'll talk about it on Friday's preview show. But I mean, yeah, like we said, it's high-speed Monaco. Nothing happened. Max would win ahead of Oscar. Carlos in P3, though. A second podium for him this year.
Great drive.
And how utterly insane is it going to be if he ends up outscoring Albon come the end of the year?
Oh, he can.
He can. He's doing 9 back.
Wow. I mean, Sainz has had a really, really good second half of the season.
Sainz is good at Abu Dhabi as well.
He is. He finished on the podium in the race that everyone forgets who was third in 2021.
Yeah, so, Tsunoda's best ever result that race still.
It was, yeah. He sent it on Bottas from about 60 metres back and he just jumped out of the way.
The proper Bottas defence.
Yeah, exactly. Sainz now 9 points off Albon in the championship. Williams are going to lock out 8th and 9th. Antonelli might beat Hamilton as well on current form.
I believe Williams have guaranteed now with that result as well, P5 overall.
And I think Alpine have guaranteed P10.
Yes, they have. They have 46 back.
For the first time ever, the champion, the constructor in last place, can finish
locked up before
no
the
higher.
final race. Yeah.
Wow.
Madness.
Yeah. Exactly.
Absolute madness. I guess actually you could say 2007 that happened.
Because
McLaren knew going into the final race they were definitely finishing last.
I guess so. You're technically right, aren't you?
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, Max would take the win though ahead of Oscar, like we said. Carlos third, Lando fourth, Antonelli, Russell. Alonso still, despite everything, ended up 7th. I'm not quite 6th, sorry. Not quite sure how that happened. No, that was 7th place even. With Leclerc, Lawson, and Yuki Tsunoda, who I don't get how he ended up way further down the order.
Further down?
Oh, no, because he had terrible qualifying, didn't he? Yeah, ignore me. I was getting the sprint and the real qualifying.
Liam Lawson from Q1, though, wasn't he? Or was he Q1 or 2?
Well, so was Tsunoda.
Yeah, and ended up in the points. There was a lot of... I mean, everything happened in the pit lane.
Lawson started 12th and finished 9th.
Ah, okay. And everything happened in the pits, basically, because everyone pit on lap 7 and lap 32. So if you were at the end of the pit lane, this is why Carlos Sainz did so well. You basically just overtook everyone in the pits.
Yeah, everyone.
It was a proper refueling era race where nothing happens on track and all of the changes happen in the pit lane.
And obviously it was only the first round of stops because then you were never close enough to anybody in the second round to actually do it.
And the other good, you know what's exciting? Next year we get to do this race without DRS.
Yeah, but it might be better with like the X-Wings and stuff. Who knows?
Maybe.
Who knows what? I mean, this is what I said though, Jamie, and I reckon I've got a valid point here.
Okay.
Swap Qatar and Abu Dhabi in the championship with Bahrain and Jeddah.
That'd be great.
Bahrain for a season finale, I think would be great because
Jeddah would be
just
hilarious.
be carnage.
Jeddah
would just be a
penultimate round
disaster.
for the one time we had it as a penultimate round was phenomenal.
It was an absolute stinker.
It was a farce, but it was hilarious. So, yeah, I think you're right. I like Bahrain as an opener. I think I would just swap Qatar and Jeddah, to be honest.
Fair enough. Either way, it would be quite interesting.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've already done the quiz. Race rating, Jamie. It was if we didn't have the championship backdrop, if Lando Norris had wrapped it up a couple of races ago or something like that, it would have been an absolute
awful
stink fest. And it still was on track, and I don't want that to kind of take away. I don't want the championship picture.
You know what, though?
To cover the blemishes.
It could have been worse because had both McLarens pit on lap 7 and lap 32.
Yep.
What would we have talked about? We'd have nothing to say.
Yeah. At least McLaren once again messing up strategy gives us something to discuss.
Exactly. But I'll give it a 4.5.
Really, that high?
That high? I feel like
I'm gonna say a 4.
I was entertained a little bit, but mostly because McLaren messed up.
Because of the championship backdrop.
Yeah.
You can't
it wasn't
let
a good
that
race.
save the actual race.
It wasn't a good race.
Shocking.
I wouldn't watch it again.
No,
put it that way.
No.
But I feel like 5 is my threshold of I might watch it again, or 6 maybe.
Yeah. If your driver does well or something like that, you think,
Exactly.
oh yeah,
I'll watch
it.
Silverstone again and again.
Race.
I watch Silverstone every week.
What, with Lando Norris winning?
No. Well, yeah, but I don't focus on that.
Wait, what? Oh, Hulkenberg. I was thinking like Verstappen didn't even do that well. What are you on about?
Yes.
No,
the first time in 239 races. Only time.
Wow.
Until
Yeah,
Australia.
and actually now Adrian Sutil, he's going to be in prison.
Really?
Yeah, have you not seen any of this?
No.
So he is currently, I believe, he's either still at this time of recording or might just have been released on bail. But he apparently has been in a huge money laundering scheme.
He's a fraud.
Yeah,
No
he's
way.
a fraud. He's a fraudster. Which a lot of people go, well, that explains why he's got every supercar under the sun in Monaco. But apparently he's married to, like, some German billionaire's daughter. Which I think the most impressive thing about that, if you remember Adrian Sutil, is he's married to someone's daughter. Rather than anything else.
My word.
But,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, he's always his running, wasn't it? Was great. Back in
His running was great, yeah.
Proper.
Yeah, who knew? Well, we'll get him on Fraud Watch along with Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, wow. And Adrian Sutil, not only is he top of the most rated out the podium, he's top of the most wanted list in Monaco, apparently. There you go.
He's not on the most wanted list.
No, he's been got.
Captured.
We got him.
Exactly. He's been got. Driver of the day, Jamie. Yes, I'm holding off on doing predictions because I don't want to know.
I will... I want to say Max, but I'll say Carlos Sainz.
It's got to be Sainz, hasn't it, surely?
You know what? I really like
great
Carlos
drive
Sainz.
to a podium.
I wouldn't say I'm a fan of Sainz, but I do really like him. So
Sainz is one of those weird drivers, isn't he? Apart from his dad's go-kart track trying to do blackface every year, which is not a great look for
that's
him.
the Spanish for you.
Sainz is a fairly chill guy, isn't he?
It was always when he was in the back of the taxi with Charles Leclerc before his first win in Silverstone, and the fan comes up and he's like, given he's on pole position, the fan comes up and says, "Go on, Carlos, I want to see P3 today," and he's like,
"Yeah,
why P3?"
Yeah. He's also just quite funny because he's a bit socially awkward as well.
Yeah,
like I'm pretty
I
certain
relate.
he still doesn't actually like know how to hug his girlfriend, which is always quite funny when you see that on Instagram. But you gotta love Carlos, haven't you? At the end of the day, so I think a worthy driver of the day.
And the predictions. Let's get on to that because this was championship
What were the scores
deciding.
coming in?
74.
It could be championship deciding. I needed a Verstappen style recovery.
You needed me to get disqualified, is what you needed.
Basically.
74 to 58, so 16 points in it, with 18 to go going into the weekend.
Yeah. I needed basically a flawless weekend.
It started pretty well, if you mind my voice.
Sorry,
it
it
did start.
I think only the dog heard
It
that.
started pretty well. Because you said Oscar Piastri win the sprint race, and I ridiculed you.
Yeah. 2 points. Get in there.
So 2 points, and I said Verstappen. So straight away,
I'm
it's on.
closing it in. It's happening. Oscar
It's
Piastri
on.
on the comeback of dreams.
You then gave up on the Piastri hype and said George Russell would get pole position.
Which, to be fair, after sprint qualifying, didn't look
be what?
impossible.
That wasn't quite a bad voice break as mine. But George Russell did not get pole position.
That was just my voice.
Okay,
It's just my voice, man.
Max Verstappen was my pick for pole.
Yeah,
which didn't
no
happen
points
either.
there. So I need to get the podium bob on now to keep myself a chance.
Exactly, and I had to get nothing right. I said Max Verstappen would win, so it's
Damn it!
So it's over. Oh dear. You said George Russell would win. You said Oscar Piastri would finish second. Fair play.
Oh, I got 2 points. I'm back in it.
2 points.
We do double points for Abu Dhabi, don't we?
And
Maybe.
you said Lewis Hamilton.
Oh yeah, that
would
one.
Get
that
third
one
place.
I knew was over by the end of sprint Q1.
I mean, if you add up the 12, the 1 and 2, you make 3. So maybe he did finish third in our dreams. But no, Lewis Hamilton nowhere near P3. I believe.
So I got 4 points this weekend just from Oscar Piastri.
Friend of the show, Kane, said that you've predicted Hamilton on the podium 6 times this season.
5 or 6 times this year, yeah.
And obviously he's yet to do it.
But he needs to beat Antonelli this weekend, otherwise he's going to be the first, which I thought was a mad stat in of itself, that Hamilton's never finished lower than 6th in the championship.
When would he have?
Well, I thought maybe like 09 or maybe a couple of the terrible Mercedes Grand. I guess 23 obviously did very well.
But he's never driven a car outside the top 3 in the championship. So when would he have finished below?
Oh, that McLaren in 09.
Still finished third in the championship.
Did it?
Yeah, they beat Ferrari in the last race.
They did, didn't they? Yeah, God. I was saying,
It was
obviously,
everyone was
the Red Bull was
inconsistent.
definitely both better. Yeah.
Yeah,
Red Bull actually had the best car over the course of that year.
they did. Vettel should have won it, but he was a young rookie.
They did, yeah. 1 point ahead of Ferrari. I mean, Toyota should have done better.
They should have done. They fell off the second half. Anyway, I got Verstappen would have gone pole. No, that's not what happened. I said Verstappen would win. There's 2 points. I said Antonelli second. No points. Norris third. No points. So actually, you beat me 4-2.
There you go.
But
so
it's
we
over.
Do double points for Abu Dhabi.
We could do double points if you want it.
I've still then got to get everything bang on, don't I?
Yeah, why not? Double
and then
points.
even if you get one right,
2014 style.
we'll
it's
do
14.
double points for the finale.
14
Weirdly,
gap.
I'm pretty certain we've done this before when you were way behind.
Possibly. So it's even keel after this.
Wonderful. Double points for the season finale. We'll get those predictions in later on this week.
Exactly. I need to leave. So hurry up.
Have we got anything else to add? Or are we all wrapped up?
I think we're done. I think the biggest revelation of this is Adrian Sutil's in prison.
Yeah.
I'm
I already
amazed.
knew this last week, but that's just me. So we can talk about that, I'm sure, later on. We'll do like a crime episode of F1 at some point. A bit like
exactly.
the old icebergs.
We'll get Lewis Hamilton there
something
for being
like
a
that.
fraud.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you all so much for listening. If you have enjoyed, please make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed, pardon me. And Jamie and I will be back when we're recording.
On
Abu
Friday
Dhabi,
morning.
Thursday or Friday? Friday morning, so it'll be up hopefully Friday afternoon. We'll see you there. A 3-way championship decider. Every time Formula 1 there has been 3 or more drivers going into the season finale with a shot, the driver leading the championship going in has never won it.
Really?
Can Lando
cool
Norris
stat.
change that this weekend?